Let me come to the other very major decision that you've taken recently, a very critical component of our financial sector, which is the entire investment advisory community, which was till now not regulated, or rather regulated by multiple entities. There was a committee that you've chaired, Mr. Swarup. The first draft of your findings have been put out for public comment by you. You've called for certain fairly drastic changes. And while you have started your product from the very beginning with the basic premise that you're not going to be making it a commission-driven product, we've seen SEBI having said recently on August 1st that entry load is banned. The insurance industry seems a little concerned about what you've announced. Where do you stand on this? Is this the basic fundamental principle that you as an investor should decide? And I think the misconception seems to be that commissions have been banned, and that's not what you've done. All you've said is they should not be embedded into a financial product. They should be decided between an investor and the agent or the distributor or whatever you may call it.
We had, as you said, put up a consultation paper on our website something like 3 weeks ago, or maybe 4 weeks ago. We had the interaction, or I called it a public hearing, for the first time a public hearing being heard on this subject about 10 days ago in Delhi, where we had invited all the stakeholders in the business, including the insurance industry, the mutual fund industry, the pension industry, the agents, the financial advisors, experts, etc., and all industry federations also. And the three main recommendations in the consultation paper are: firstly, the financial advisors need to be regulated more than what they are done, what happens today, and that too by an agency, not by multiple agencies. Secondly, there must be common minimum standards for these financial advisors in terms of the entry level, the entry barriers, in terms of the examinations which they have to pass, in terms of continuing education, etc. And then we came to the conclusion there need to be common disclosure norms for the benefit of the consumers of financial products. And finally, we thought that time has now come that all financial products there should be no commission embedded in the price, which technically what we call a no-load structure in a financial product. There has been no opposition to any other conclusion except the last one which I mentioned, that all products should go no load, and there should be no commission embedded in the product per se. And as you rightly said, we have nowhere said that agent or the financial advisor should not be paid for the services. In fact, the committee has recognized the key role which the agents and the financial advisors play in terms of increasing, in terms of personal finance, in terms of savings, in terms of investments in the country. So we know that they will continue to play a very important role in this area. But we are only saying, for the benefit of the consumer, firstly, it needs to be disclosed to him as to what are the costs, what are the commissions, what are the fees, what are the other charges, what are the risks involved. So all that has to be put in very understandable language to the consumer. And the second is, if you embed a commission in the price, then obviously the financial advisor will push that product in which he gets the highest commission. We think that is detrimental to the interest of the consumer of the financial product. So we have said, let it be converted into a fee which the consumer must pay the agent directly. I'm not saying that it should be paid to two different checks. It can be paid through the same check also. That's not a problem. That's only a micro detail which we can easily work on. So that's the only reason we have said that the commission should be converted into a fee.
Why then, Mr. Swarup, is the insurance industry up in arms? What you're saying is making sense in the fact that it is a consumer-driven initiative. It is meant to benefit the consumer. Why has the insurance industry, the regulator, come out so openly and questioned the very logic of the recommendations of this committee?
Well, obviously it affects the industry as a whole. In fact, I must say, as I mentioned earlier, the entire opposition to our the recommendation, draft recommendation in the consultation paper is only on one side of it, and that is they are being very sensitive about only the business side of the equation of the problem what we are mentioning. They have not seeing the consumer side of the equation. And the entire committee's terms of reference is with reference to seeing the consumer's interest, And whatever opposition you might have heard, either from the regulator or from the industry, only talks about the impact it will have on the industry, because they are dependent on the agent who sort of pushes up our product because of the commission structure. And what we have said is that there is a commission which ranges from something like 6% to it goes up to as high as 40% in a product per se. And the average the commission paid out in 2007, 2008 has been of the order of 16.25%. And but as you said rightly, that is the NPS, right from day one has been a no-load project, the product. And SEBI followed suit on 1st of August. They have declared that
in fact, global regulators are going the same way.
Well, yes, most of the global regulators also are going the same way, as you rightly said. But we found it's not that we have been influenced only by what is happening across the world. We think the time has come in India also, where the consumer must be aware, firstly, what she is paying, and secondly, it should not be embedded in the price, because whatever the level of financial literacy is being in a country, it will continue to, a product which has a high commission structure will continue to be pushed in case it is embedded in the price of the product per se.
An IRDA representative was a part of your committee. It was a multi-regulatory committee. Have they dissented?
In fact, we have 2 members from IRDA, as against one member each from RBI, SEBI and PFRDA. So, but that's in a lighter vein. But the fact is, yes, they have not really dissented as such, but they have expressed the view that this is going to hugely impact the industry. But as I mentioned, they are seeing only the business side of the equation. They are not seeing the consumer, and we are trying to persuade them, to convince them that the time has now come to see the consumer side of the equation.
If I remember right, in that previous committee, which went nowhere after 18 months, you had dissented and said that there needs to be more thought given to this report.
That's
Today
right.
you are faced with a situation where one regulator is, at least openly, publicly, whether they have told you, we are not aware, but they've certainly gone public with it and said that this is not the right way ahead. Are you going to change your mind, Mr. Swarup? Are you very clear about your decision, dissent or no dissent?
Well, as I said, this is only at a draft stage at this point of time. We have sort of been discussing in the committee. In fact, we had a meeting yesterday. Some more the facts and figures and other they have to be collected, and finally we're going to take a view in the second week of October, and that's the end of the commission.
But are you saying, Mr. Swarup, that you may look at the time frame, you may look at the timetable, you may look at the numbers, but in principle, you are very clear that this whole concept of embedded commissions into a financial product must go?
I think conceptually, and all the inputs which we are getting as to our the commission's the committee's consultation paper, it all points to the direction that conceptually we are in the right direction, and I see no reason why conceptually anything should change from what we said, that there should be level playing field, including in the commission structure across financial products. Conceptually, I don't think the majority in the committee is likely to change their point of view.
Thank you very much, Mr. Swarup, for talking to us, and I wish you all the best.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.